Welcome all to our approaches on literary theory session. So, we have already seen the two approaches of literary theory. If you haven't watched that video, go and watch that video and come and watch this video because the continuation is must. If you miss out the continuation, then you will not understand the concept. Context oriented approaches, psychoanalytic criticism. I have already mentioned what psychoanalytic criticism is in our previous video, so I will give you a simple definition in this video. Uses psychological theories and the technique of psychoanalysis. They will analyze the work by applying some psychological or psychoanalytical theories and techniques. They will focus and they will look upon a thing in psychological perspective. Okay, then feminist criticism is also known as feminism. So uses socio-culture context, gender discrimination arising from social conditioning and the cultural mindset. So what are all the problems and what are all the obstructions faced by female, this and all will be discussed in the works. So I will tell you an example. So, if a person, that is, if a male writer is writing the struggles faced by the female, then he will write in a different point of view. And then, if a female writer is writing the sufferings of another female, then she will write in a different point of view. If the female who has suffered is writing a particular work, then she will write in a different point of view. So the point of view will differ. So this also will be taken into consideration while analyzing the work. So what are all the problems, how society is discriminating them based on gender, and what are all the obstructions, what are all the problems, and what are all the effects, and what are all the consequences. So these and all will be analyzed in a feminist criticism. New historicism. So by seeing the name itself, we can understand that is history. So they will analyze the work based on history. So they need to have a what they need to collect a in-depth information regarding that particular event. So they will analyze the historical context by considering it as a core text. So while they are analyzing the historical context, they will do parallel reading on both literary and non-literary texts. And then post-colonial criticism. In colonization, what does mean by colonization? Colonization means occupying the colonies. So that is what colonization is. So post-colonial means what had happened after the colonization. Pre-colonial means what had happened before colonization. So this is what pre and post. I hope you all know about what is pre and what is post. So, post-colonial criticism based on ideological considerations, opposition to Eurocentric universalism, cultural invasion, modernization. So, Eurocentric concept we have seen already. Eurocentric means that the European countries' ideas will be focused or will be imposed on the people who are less in power. So, this is what post-colonial. So, in that, some people were there who opposed this Eurocentric universalism and cultural invasion. So, modernization became a major role during that time. So some people opposed that. So that things and all will be discussed in post-colonial criticism work. So they will analyze how they were opposed and what are all the reasons for their opposition. So that and all will be analyzed in post-colonial criticism. Marxist criticism. We all know Karl Marx, he fought for the people. So, socio-economic and historical context as important. They will consider three things as important. So, in all the other criticism, they will consider any one or two things as important. But in Marxist criticism, the three things are all considered as important. The society is also important, the economy is also important, and the history is also important. Okay, and then writer, reader, and the text perceived as products. So these three are much important. So a person has to be there in order to produce a work, and the work which has been produced by the person, and someone has to be there in order to read the work. So these three are all considered as, or they are perceived as tech products. Okay, this is what Marxist criticism. Marxist criticism will be an easier one if you have a plan to research, can do research on it. Bakhtin school, it is a literary movement. So they consider literature as a social dynamic discourse. It is a discourse. So what they are saying is, literature or a word has the capability in order to take different meanings. It depends on the situation. So we all agree with that. That is, if we take a word, whether it will take the same meaning in all situation. No, it will change its meaning according to the situation. So literature has the ability to change according to the situation. This is what they are saying. It depends on the social and historical context. Then myth criticism, we all know that it is fully based on myth. So they will focus on myth interpretation. They will follow some myth. Especially we will follow, or we know, Greek mythology. Most of the literature people will know Greek mythology well, other than other mythologies. Next, text oriented approaches. In text oriented approaches, we have 4 categories, but in that structuralism is centered. This is the center point for all the remaining categories. So already we have seen the 3 approaches: context oriented approaches, reader oriented approaches, author oriented approaches. Now we are going to see text or language oriented approaches, which is the last approaches. Formalism. In formalism, we have 2 formalism, that is Russian formalism and French formalism. Now we will see the Russian formalism. In Russian formalism, there will be some years and the foundation years of some movements or some revolution like that. So you need not to memorize that, but you need to know the order which has formed first and which had formed in the middle and which had formed at the last. So Moscow Linguistic Circle, which was founded in 1915. 2 years later, Russian Revolution arose in 1917. And then after that, Pragnus Circle, that was founded in 1926. The prominent writers in Pragnus Circle were Roman Jakobson, Viktor Shklovsky, and Boris Eichenbaum. So these were all the prominent writers during that time. These writers are much interested or more interested in establishing scientific basis for the theory of literature. That is, they want to establish this literary theory on scientific basis. That is what they are interested. They are more interested on in scientific theories. So this is what Russian formalism is. So there is not more things to elaborate in Russian formalism. We will move on to French formalism. French formalism. This formalism was influenced by Saussurean linguistics. Some critics thought that all human performances manifest a system of differential relations of signs. That is, if you show a sign, it will denote something, and if you show a different sign, it will denote something. So other person will show different sign for the same thing. So the human beings will show the differentiation. There will be some different relationship of signs. And then what they are saying is, this French formalism and Russian formalism are very closely related. They are not that much difference. They are not differing that much. So formalism is not that much important. So this is what we all need to know in Russian formalism and French formalism as well. Practical criticism. By seeing the name itself, we can come to a conclusion. Analyzing the work using some practical techniques. That is, they don't follow in a hi-fi technique, or they don't follow any scientific technique and all. This will be an easy criticism also. I.A. Richards is the pioneer of this technique. And then what we want to do is, in a page the page will contain numerous words, so you have to simply analyze the words. You need not to have a reference on any other context, or you need not to refer any the author. So just you want to analyze the words on the page. And then T.S. Eliot refers to this criticism as lemon squeezing. Okay. And then during the same period, similar kind of decontextualized objective reading, that is the same concept was popular in America in the name of new criticism. So the other name for practical criticism is new criticism. It will be very useful if you are preparing for NET or SLET. The prominent writers during for practical criticism are Glenn Brooks, Ransom, Alan Tate, R.P. Warren. They are all the prominent writers. And then structuralism. It is the most important theory. So it was developed during 1930s to 1970s. Considered a text only in terms of language and its system of conventions. Only they will focus on the language. They will consider a text only based on the language. So Ferdinand de Saussure, he is a Swiss linguist. So he is the founder of this structural linguist, that is structuralism. He is the founder. They focus on phono-lexico-grammatical constituents of a literary work. So if you read the linguistic paper or phonetics paper, you will be aware of these things, that is phono, lexico and grammatical constituents. So if a literary work is given, they will focus on the phonology, and the lexico means the dictionary, the words, meanings and all. So grammatical. So these are all the things will be focused on structuralism. Next, post-structuralism. In post-structuralism is nothing but deconstruction. So deconstruction emerged as a serious challenge. What they are saying is deconstruction emphasizes open-endedness. Open-endedness. We can come to a clear-cut conclusion. So open-endedness and undecidability. That is, we cannot decide what is going, what will be the end. Like that, we cannot come to a conclusion. That is deconstruction. Everything is deconstructed. Deconstruction will be text based. It is too text based like all other criticism, but here the word text is different here. So the text is totally changed. We cannot give a conclusion for the ending. We cannot come to a conclusion how the ending will be. So here the notion of the text is different. So world and word are not treated as conceptual opposition, but as two different entities. Both also will change. If how I am saying that world and word are related or interrelated. Just they are different in some point, but they are treating it as they are totally different like that. So it is different in some point, because what does mean by trending words or modern words? If the world changes, new word also will be added. So if there is a development in technology, then there will be development in techno words too. So according to the world, word also will change. So both are interrelated. Derrida. Derrida is giving a quote that there is nothing outside the text. So everything is inside. When we see outside the text, nothing is there, and the text is a gas. When we see out of it, nothing will be there, since it is a gas. And then all experiences and feelings are expressed only through the text or language. How will you express your feelings? Even a simple feeling, how can you express? You need some language. Even the signs come under language. So all our experiences, feelings, emotions, opinions are all expressed only through text and languages. Impossible to draw a firm line between reality and representation. There is only a single gap between reality and representation. So whatever the reality is, it is represented. Either it may be imaginative in some point, but the reality is represented. So there is only a inch gap between reality and representation. We cannot isolate it isolated altogether. Text or language is not structured, always in a state of flux with no final meaning. So, as I already told, words will change. The meaning for that particular word will change. It depends on the socio and economic circumstances. So, it is not a fixed one. The language too is not a fixed one. If a native speaker will use the same language in a different format, and the non-native speaker will speak the same language in a different manner. So it is not a fixed one. Each theory tries to destabilize the others. So we cannot say that this theory alone is enough. This theory is not needed. So the focus of all the theorists, or the intention of all the theorists, is they want to destabilize the other theories. That is the notion of the theorists. And then, we are not in a stable world but in an unstable postmodern multiverse where nothing seems to be determinate. So the same point is repeated over and over. That is, we are not living in a stable world. So everything will be changed. Nothing will stay as a permanent. So everything will be changed whenever it needs. So if, nothing is determinate. So we cannot judge, or we cannot say the things definitely. It will change when the time comes. So these are all the four approaches we have come. We have concluded the four approaches of literary theory. So if you have any doubt regarding this video, you can comment in the comment section, and then I will clarify your doubt in the next video. Thank you for watching.